Back when I was 6 and living in Scotland as a wee little lad, I would play the hit game Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Legends while watching my favorite movie of all time, Fusion Reborn. Then at the age of 7, I moved to New York City, where I then discovered that these movies are kind of bullshit. And then at the age of 8, I moved to South Carolina and decided to make a video essay about all of these movies. Well, except for like a few, but I watched like 13 movies for this video, okay? Garlic Jr. wants to take vengeance for his father, who was killed by Kami in a previous generation because he decided to be a guardian that did more than literally nothing! I mean, the alternative of inflicting darkness on humanity as the literal guardian of Earth doesn't really make much sense either, but just pretend like it does for a moment. Garlic Jr. is actually very smart in this movie because the very first thing he does with the Dragon Balls is wish for immortality. But he's also not the sharpest tool in the shed because before doing that, he tried to fucking kill Piccolo, which in turn would have killed Kami. And then without Kami, there are no Dragon Balls. Given that his father was the literal candidate to be the next Guardian of Earth, I'm genuinely surprised that Garlic Jr. didn't know this fact. Not that it actually matters anyway, because Piccolo just survives anyway. I mean, you can quite literally cut this part out of the movie and nothing changes. Well, whatever. Garlic Jr. is now immortal and starts running hands with Kami. Bro is low-key getting cooked and it's looking like Garlic Jr. is gonna win this fight with flying colors. But then everybody else jumps in. So the blueberry Toyota Yaris transforms into a Jeep Cherokee and starts beating everyone's ass. Piccolo and Goku team up to perform one big attack on Garlic Jr., but it obviously didn't work because, well, he's immortal, which is honestly just a fact that they seem to continuously forget, given that Piccolo and Goku were just ready to run hands right then and there. So what does Garlic Man decide to do? He basically has the win condition. All he has to do is wear them down and just let them die. So Garlic Man, as the big brain genius he is, decides to do the one thing that makes it feasible to kill him. He opened up the fucking dead zone. Then Gohan has his rage boost and knocks Garlic Jr. back into his mother's womb. My brother in Christ made one good decision on a mountain of really, really bad decisions, but none of that would have even mattered if he just didn't open up the freaking dead zone. I mean, look, Garlic Jr. is a relatively decent villain and does actually become a legitimate threat. His only real flaw is that he's a brainless dumbass. This movie begins with an evil genius scientist who is out in the Arctic. He needs to thaw out the ice that currently is covering his base. And how does he do this? By using the Dragon Balls. So you're telling me that after 50 years of scientific genius in building this absolutely massive base with probably endless resources to contain and preserve this giant brain, you could not use a fucking flamethrower to melt the ice? So then they go after Piccolo for some unknown reason and decide to suck him into the glory hole. Then the genius doctor decides to kidnap Master Roshi and Bulma for some reason, for the sole purpose of Dr. Wheelo. Now at this point, it is revealed that Master Roshi was kidnapped for his superior martial arts and strength. But why was Bulma kidnapped again? Master Roshi runs the Fae with these 3 biomechanical but not biochemical machine things that are supposed to be some of the greatest warriors the Earth has ever seen, but one of them looks like my mom's beat up scrub daddy in all honesty. It is at this point that we find the only plot relevance thing Bulma is kidnapped for, and it is to provoke Dr. Coochie, yes, that is Deadass his name, to tell the backstory about Dr. Wheelo and why his absurdly massive brain is in a robot. In a nutshell, they died in an avalanche. But Dr. Wheelo more specifically died of frostbite, but wouldn't have Dr. Coochie also died of frostbite? But anyway, despite this, Dr. Wheelo's massive cock brain managed to survive. But also this version of Dr. Coochie is apparently a robot as well, which kind of makes me question why they put Dr. Wheelo into a giant freaking robot in the first place when they could have given him a normal human-sized body. Now look, this point is important for later, but for now, why did Dr. Coochie willingly design his body to look like a crippled old man? Out of anybody in this world that you could have chosen yourself to be, you made yourself look like ass. What the fuck? Look, nobody wants to be born ugly, but sometimes you're just dealt a bad hand and you can't really do all that much about it. But what if in some crazy scenario you just could? That wasn't plastic surgery. And instead of using this opportunity to make yourself look like Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds or just like any other buff person on the planet, you decide to make yourself look ugly! And another thing that bothers me is that apparently the death of Dr. Cucci and Dr. Wheelo was like a big scientific event that was going on in the community, but literally nobody came out to help them. I mean, even Bulma knew about it. For God's sake, she spewed out the entire story just to make Dr. Cucci talk about his past. Honestly, if this was the reason they decided to get vengeance, I would be completely on their side. It's at this point that Bulma snitches on Goku as the world's strongest fighter in the world, which makes Dr. Cucci extra hard. And the true motivation of Dr. Cucci and Dr. Wheelo is finally revealed. They want to destroy the world, but not because they were left for dead in an avalanche, no support, and had to willingly make themselves look ugly for no fucking reason, but because everyone in the scientific community called them mad scientists. I mean, you're kind of proving their point, right? Like, look, bro, I know you're making some great scientific innovations for the world and all, but why the hell would you be so petty to prove the haters wrong by proving the haters right? And if you want to add even more insult to injury, this incident occurred over 50 years ago. They had this motivation because they got insulted over 50 years ago on the scientific farm. And they still have not forgotten to this day. Bro, you are not Batman. But it gets even worse because they decide to literally destroy some random town for no reason. Who are you even getting vengeance on at this point? I thought you were angry at the scientists, but instead of going for the scientists' offspring, you just decide to start killing random people. But it gets even worse because their whole motivation is to destroy everything, so it looks like a barren desert. But it gets even worse because they also want to have an audience witness their innovative solutions and finally prove to the world that they're not mad scientists by literally being mad scientists. One minor problem though, if you make the entire world an urban wasteland, how in the fuck are you going to have a single person bear witness to your scientific genius? Deadass, you just proved the scientists correct who called you lunatics many years ago. You could have introduced the technology that kept Dr. Wheelo alive for so many years, but no, let's just destroy the entire world because some scientists made fun of us 50 years ago. Also, what kind of metal are these dudes made out of? I'm like 99% sure that metal is not supposed to be that flexible. Also, couldn't the doctor have just wished for his brain to be put inside the world's strongest body or even create the world's strongest body instead of melting the fucking ice? I know the Super Dragon Balls don't exist yet, but you couldn't have had the scientist at least try, or better yet, they had already captured Piccolo. Now I know that Piccolo is technically not the world's strongest, but they intended to do the same thing with Master Roshi that they are going to do to Goku. Except I'm willing to bet that at this point in the series, Piccolo is most likely much stronger than Master Roshi. Now maybe you could say it's because Piccolo was a Namekian, therefore he's not compatible, but I would argue that they'd probably just make some modifications if need be. I mean, look, bro's brain is surviving in a giant robot. I think to fit that brain in any regular human-sized body, you're gonna have to make a few adjustments. No matter what way you twist it, you're gonna need some major cosmetic surgery, my guy. Also, why is Bulma being chained up if she's blocked by a literal force field? This movie makes no sense, bruh. Oh, and by the end of this, we still have no idea why Bulma was even chained up in the first place. DFS did this movie way better. Oh my god. The Goku we see in this movie is an imposter. On the timeline, this movie happens right after the events of the Saiyan saga. Now, how do I know this? Gohan Bull Cut. The Gohan Bull Cut happens right at the beginning of the Namek saga. What this means is that Goku is still in the hospital from having his bones crushed. So there's just physically no way that the Goku in this movie can be the real one. I rest my case.
He is a Saiyan. Saiyans never perish.
Also, quick talk, why is Yamcha still alive right now? If my calculations are correct, bro should be dead right now. Gohan Bull Cut? Yamcha getting Yamcha'd? How the fuck is bro even here? Anyway, Turles wants to destroy Goku because the Saiyan bastards outside of Tarbles are petty as hell. And he basically does this by planting a tree in the soil that he doesn't know will work. Seems logical. But this tree is basically super destructive and takes all the nutrients from the earth to keep it running and bear this super overpowered fruit. Honestly, not a half bad idea. And overall, I'd say this movie is not half bad either. However, this stupid fucking purple dragon. Now, I don't know why they insist on keeping this Pokemon alive for as many movies as humanly possible, but this movie and many others, in my personal opinion, will be way better without it existing. Ever. Anywho, Turles is obsessed with Gohan. The Gohan shits out his tail somehow. Keep in mind that this thing has already been cut off twice. This is the literal third time that Gohan has fully grown back his tail, while Goku only grew it back once. And don't worry, we'll get into why this is relevant later. Also, why has nobody but Gohan mentioned that Turles looks exactly like Goku? I mean, not even Goku mentions how Turles looks like Goku whatsoever. We had the entire Goku Black arc in Super where everyone under the sun was freaked out about how there was an evil Goku going around. But the second it happens in a movie, we just pretend like this is just some regular ordinary Saiyan. So that kind of begs the question, why does Turles need to look exactly like Goku? What is the plot relevance to this? Turles has no relation to Goku outside of them being Saiyans. I mean, maybe supposedly he's like a lower class Saiyan as well, which I honestly highly doubt given that he literally has a whole crew of goons working for him. And as for Turles himself, I honestly do not understand bro's motivation. I can't tell if bro wants revenge, if he wants Goku to join his forces, or if he just only cares about taking over the planet and nothing else. Because in his fight with Goku, he can end this at any point, but he insists on Goku just giving up rather than just killing him for some reason. Like, look, I know he has an unhealthy obsession with Gohan, but as far as I could tell, he doesn't give a rat's ass about Goku. So why is bro yapping? Honestly, Turles is looking to be much more like Goku. Not just in the looks department, but also the personality department too. Long story short, Turles eats an overpowered fruit, beats the shit out of Goku, then Goku eats a fruit and beats the shit out of Turles. Bro's just a simple guy with a soul-sucking tree, and that is basically all he is. So Lord Slug is a villain that can be summed up as being a dick for no reason. His literal entire quest is to come to Earth to find the Dragon Balls to turn himself young again. Why he wants to turn himself young again, we aren't told, like, ever, despite this being the literal main motivation for why he came to Earth in the first place. Now, I can only assume that he has some really big empire in some part of the universe that Frieza never discovered that he wanted to preserve as much as humanly possible and could only do that while being an all-powerful ruler with an iron fist. But once again, none of this is stated in the movie, so I got no idea. Oh, also the fact that bro is literally just Chinese knockoff King Piccolo, which I didn't actually realize on first viewing because I hadn't actually watched the entirety of Dragon Ball. But I did watch TFS. King Kai actually gives some explanation later, stating that Lord Slug was a part of some ancient Namekians, and that basically these Namekians had some deep regrets and anger. And now they basically just take that regret and anger out on everybody else. But what anger? What regrets? Did bro lose his family? Did bro lose November? Like, what compelled him to be such a miserable dick and shit grim as clouds on everybody's planets for no reason? Also, why is Bulma always selling in these movies? She is a genius scientist. There is no reason that this asshole should be able to figure out that a dragon radar exists just because Bulma can't shut her trap. To summarize, bro's entire objective was to basically skip planet Namek, aka a planet he knows for a fact has Dragon Balls, and instead magically discovers that Earth has Dragon Balls and uses those to become young again. And after achieving his lifelong dream of becoming eternally miserable, might as well fuck up the entire planet with some purple clouds too, because why the fuck not? I mean, at least the soundtrack in this movie is fire though. Let us see if we can break down this timeline. So Gohan has a bowl cut, which means this movie takes place before he grows out his hair, which is before Trunks kills Frieza. What this means is that Goku is still in the middle of space somewhere learning instant transmission. So once again, Goku is the imposter in this movie, because he's not supposed to be here right now. Oh, but trust me, it gets even worse because the timeline gets even more fucked up. Because in order for Cooler to know that Frieza has died to a Super Saiyan, Frieza needs to travel to Earth and die. But you might be thinking to yourself, why is this important? Because Gohan has a bowl cut. But when Frieza arrives to Earth, Gohan's hair is grown out! But this timeline does not work because Cooler comes to Earth after Frieza dies. And we can't just say Goku came to Earth early and then just killed Frieza on his own because Frieza would arrive at the same time anyway, and Gohan's hair would still be grown out. I rest my case. Goku is an imposter, and this entire timeline literally makes no sense. Now let us get into Cooler's entire motivation. It can be summed up as him taking revenge for the death of Frieza, or more specifically, honoring their family's legacy, because Cooler couldn't actually give a rat's ass about Frieza. I mean, funnily enough, he talks about how Frieza dying brings shame to their family name, but bro just completely ignores the fact that King Cold also died. I mean, did Cooler just like randomly forget this fact, or was his dick so swollen from hating on his brother that he just hyper fixated on that very specific fact? Because if everyone knows that Frieza is dead, I'm pretty damn well sure that they're gonna know that King Cold is dead too. Another thing, what is the actual motivation of the Frieza race? Is it to simply expand their rule over the entire universe with as much power and influence as possible? Because Cooler calls himself the annihilator of planets for no reason. Literally, what is the point of annihilating planets without implementing them into the Frieza Force? It is clear by looking at the Frieza Force that that is a simple process that they had been doing for a long time. I mean, hell, even Frieza tries to recruit Goku in the Namek Saga. Anyway, Gohan shits out his tail for the 4th time according to this non-canon universe, and then there isn't really anything else I can say about this movie. I mean, other than the starting trend of there being just like absolutely fire soundtracks in the movie, which I absolutely will not complain about. And honestly, there's some really cool fights in this movie too. Solid movie, honestly. But unfortunately, I can't really say that about the next movie because the next movie is... fucking purgatory are we in? Let me break it down for you, Mark. According to the timeline of this movie, the events occur after Dende becomes the guardian of the Earth. What this means is that Gohan has Super Saiyan, Vegeta has Super Saiyan Grade 2, and Goku has perfected Super Saiyan. But where the hell is my Princess Eggplant? And despite Gohan supposedly having Super Saiyan, he still doesn't have his hair cut, which means that he's either in the very big birthing stages of having Super Saiyan, like randomly well-being in the middle of the hyperbolic time chamber, which would technically mean that he's actually just an imposter in this movie, or he just doesn't have Super Saiyan at all, which I'm willing to believe given that he literally never transforms into Super Saiyan once in this entire movie. But this doesn't make any sense either, because Dende is the guardian of the Earth! Where does it fall in the timeline, bro? Also, you remember that guy that hated his brother more than I hate Taylor Swift's latest album, 1964, and the guy who decided that Goku was a dick for killing his brother and disrespecting their family? Well, this movie takes place for that exact same reason, but this time he's made out of fucking metal thanks to the spaghetti star. This movie is so dumb. For one, why does Cooler go to New Namek instead of Earth to inflict his revenge on Goku? And how the fuck did he even find New Namek in the first place? Goku literally had to find it by using instant transmission on King Kai's planet. But apart from that, literally nobody knew where the planet was. If anything, this movie actually had the opportunity to introduce a brand new planet. A new planet made of metal being conquered by the Ghetto Star. So we actually have a unique environment for once. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't really make sense for them to go to a random ass planet in the middle of nowhere, especially since Dende wouldn't be able to tell them, hey, my planet's getting fucked up over there. But you could just make up some bullshit excuse like it's some power plant that fucking King Kai's friend was making or some shit. But believe me, anything is better than New Namek. Also, we know literally nothing about how the Gape Star actually works. All we know is that it makes Cooler stronger because it does. We don't know why it exists, why it decides to endlessly gather resources, or why they need to capture Goku and Vegeta's energy when they didn't need a single speck of energy to power over 1,000 coolers. And on top of all of that, Goku and Vegeta were not even strong enough to properly take out one metal cooler. So how in the fuck did they manage to overpower the Ghetto Star, which managed to create unlimited supply of coolers. It makes literally no sense. Also, did Cooler already know about instant transmission, or did he just pull this out of his ass? Also, how did Vegeta know where New Namek was and when Goku would be? This shit is so dumb. And how do they get enough resources to make over 500 coolers when Namek has no metal? And why are they taking resources from Namek? Oh my god, this is so stupid. They're fucking the planet, chat. They're fucking... This right here is Imposter Goku. Oh? Don't believe me? Well, take a look at this. Dr. Gero's dumbass computer in the basement where Cell is being built. Recall how Krillin and Trunks destroyed this entire basement with Cell in it? Now, I don't know if the androids were down there as well, but what I do know is that the supercomputer was intact during the runtime of this movie, which means this entire movie happened while Goku was asleep. But this would not be possible because Goku is currently fighting Android 13 right now, which would mean Goku would need to fight Android 13 before Krillin and Trunks would kill Cell, and then Goku would wake up later. I rest my case. Now, the entire motivation behind the android of this movie is that Dr. Gero, or Dr. Gero's computer more specifically, wants to kill Goku. Something I'm curious about though is, was Android 13 originally human? Android 14 and 15 seem to act the most like robots, without any real personality outside of alcohol, not unlike the average frat boy party. But Android 13 has a legitimate personality for the first half of the movie. And honestly, this makes his character quite likable. At least this is the case before he turns into the all-new blue Ford F-150 with Widow's Peak. TM. Anyway, Vegeta was chilling in the mountain at the bottom of Bikini Bottom, rushing his ass at the bottom of the mountain after bailing Goku out so he can make a badass entrance. Piccolo also arrives with the power of the Fitbit and Gohan's left shoe. They then proceed to not transform into Super Saiyan for about 20 minutes until they realize, oh wait, this is some shit that we can do. I'm not sure why they decided to drag it out for so long, but... And with the power of French's classic yellow mustard with no artificial flavors or preservatives, Trunks and Vegeta managed to one-shot Android 14 and 15 simultaneously. While Vegeta cuts the alcoholic's head off with no sword and Trunks makes the buff femboy explode with a sword slice. Makes sense to me. Android 13 then proceeds to turn into blue Kool-Aid, beat everyone's ass, break Goku's balls, damn! Until Goku pulls out the good old reliable. No, seriously, he does this shit in almost every single movie. But why was bro tweaking so hard? I thought the spirit bomb was supposed to be made out of pure light energy, not some unadulterated crash out energy. In all honesty, Android 13 was a really cool villain. I mean, yeah, he was basically a puppet for the old geezer to express his vigorous hate boner for Goku, and all I can hope is that they do not linger on this motivation for too long. I mean, surely they wouldn't do that, right? The main villains of this movie are basically Paragus and Broly. Paragus plays the role of the evil scheming guy that baits Vegeta with the idea of the legendary Super Saiyan destroying South Galaxy. And Broly, who screams a lot. Broly's entire motivation can basically be dumbed down to him being pissed off at Goku being a crying little shit when they were toddlers. And the sad thing is, this watered down version of Broly's motivation is literally the entire thing. I'm not missing any detail here. That is deadass the only reason this literal giant fucking baby is having a temper tantrum. And yes, I did take that reference from TFS. I mean, yeah, let's ignore the fact that King Vegeta literally tried to kill you and exiled you along with your father and left you guys out to die. Nope, the crying fucking toddler that prevented me from getting my Z's. That's what Broly is pissed off about. Also, let's talk about the part where Paragus is trying to convince King Vegeta not to exile his son. King Vegeta is basically like, you know what? I don't like arguments. You should kill yourself! Except my dumbass is so shit at handling a dagger that I could not even pierce it through a non-struggling baby! He literally doesn't even put a single stab wound in Broly. Like, look, bro didn't even do nothing! Where's the mark? So you would think Broly would want vengeance on Vegeta's son, the man who literally tried to kill him, right? Well, not really, because bro completely ignores Vegeta and starts beefing with Goku. Not the guy who stabbed him and threw him out like trash, but the crying child in the next chamber over. What the fuck is this shit, dude? Broly is also a dick to slaves for no reason. So if you need to cancel him on twitter.com, here's your material. Also, Piccolo can apparently hear anything in the universe because of his big ass ears. Nah, he definitely shoved a Fitbit up Gohan's right shoe. Oh, and another thing, how does Paragus have a Saiyan pod? Where did he get it? I mean, it couldn't have been Vegeta. The planet got fucking blown up. I seriously doubt it was the Frieza Force. Bro wasn't even a part of that. And according to my research, Broly just protected them with his bubble and traversed to another planet, and they did not pick up a Saiyan pod on their way out. And where does this random ass army come from? And why do they suddenly just disappear for no reason? Why does Paragus suddenly hate Broly enough to just up and leave him on this random ass planet that's about to blow up? I know he throws temper tantrums, but he is still your son that has helped you survive for this entire time. I mean, I'll be honest. Paragus deserved his death. You cried like a bitch when we were toddlers, but now I'm going to kill your fucking son. Not the P. Diddy. Chi-Chi imposter confirmed. Look, I don't need any evidence or data for this one, because there is no universe where Chi-Chi would ever let Gohan fight in a tournament. Also, Trunks just randomly decided to come back for a random ass tournament after leaving, killing Cell in the future timeline, instead of repairing his timeline. Makes sense. Also, can we talk about where the star is that Bojack is being kept in? If we assume that it was in King Kai's planet, then wouldn't Bojack just blow up along with the planet? And why was it King Kai's planet specifically that was keeping Bojack locked away? I mean, couldn't they just send him off to hell and throw away the key or something? Anyway, let's talk about the motivation of Bojack. Bro is basically a tyrant for no reason whatsoever. And, that's basically it. He doesn't even care to take revenge on the Kais that locked him away for literal centuries. Instead, he just wants to infiltrate some random ass tournament on some random ass planet and beat the shit out of whatever fighters they see there. They also call themselves pirates. But do you ever see them collecting treasure? No! They just want to kill people and nothing else. And if we assume that Bojack was trapped in the star on some faraway place somewhere, then how does bro even know about Goku? I mean, I guess whatever star he was in could have just heard everything that King Kai was saying on his planet at all times. Oh shit, it means Bojack could hear it when King Kai was jacking up. Bojack is also just a dick for no reason, because he acknowledges that Goku is the very reason that he's set free, and he wants to thank him by torturing his son. Like why? Like why? Why wouldn't you make his death quick and painless as like a favor? And why does he kill his teammate for no fucking reason at all? This is honestly the most random thing in the movie, and it literally amounts to nothing. And why does Goku punch Bojack with literally no consequences whatsoever? No reprimanding from King Kai? No King Yama grabbing the shotgun to knock some sense into Goku? No. Nothing. I mean, doesn't this break some sort of major rule of the spirit world? Also, Krillin is a certified slut in this movie. Didn't he just confess his love to Android 18 in this timeline? Broly is in a pod. Wait, didn't he destroy the only pod in the last movie? Where did he get this damn thing? How did he get in the pod before the planet exploded? Wasn't bro having a seizure procedure in the last movie? So anyway, bro just happens to land on Earth and survive while having a literal hole in his chest. I mean, I guess bro is still so mad about Goku crying in the chamber next door over 20 years ago that it motivated him to survive the Goku gut punch. And he only really wakes up in this movie because Goten is a whiny bitch for an apple. But also, he doesn't get an apple anyway, like, oh god. Dude, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind! Also, we have a Goten and Goku imposter in this movie. Let me explain. Basically, Gohan is in his blue fit. And this fit, he only wears before the World Tournament, which occurs in the Majin Buu saga. Which means that before this point, Goten has never met Goku. Also, why? Why the hell, when they were having the family Kamehameha, did Goten wish for his father to be there? Bro has never seen his father before this point. And why did the Dragon Balls just randomly not work? Are you trying to tell me that Shenron, the all-powerful mighty dragon, couldn't break through a few rocks? And why did it still not work when they were in an open field? And also, they were just kind of retconning how the Dragon Balls work, because Goten wished for his father to be there, not verbally, he thought it in his mind. And on top of that, Shenron wasn't even summoned at the time. I guess bro was just in silent mode or something. Anywho, the family Kamehameha throws Broly into the sun and he turns into pixie dust. Which surely means that he is dead for real this time, right? What the actual fuck? Okay, this movie goes as follows. This weird-ass blonde dude wants to get revenge on Mr. Satan because of some summer camp event. Oh wait, scratch that. He's the cousin of the short king because Mr. Satan existed at the summer camp and 18 is here. Also, remember this wizard idiot from the first Broly movie? No, well, he lost his idiot certificate because he ended up doing something even dumber. He somehow, after the second movie, managed to find the exact place where Broly's dried blood was. Not his dead body, his dried blood. And honestly, I'm not even sure how bro knew it was Broly's blood. I guess he just tested every blood splash he found until he found Broly's blood just for the hell of it. I also do not know how he even knows about the existence of Broly. Given that the second he transformed in the last movie, the very first person to run hands with Broly was Videl. This wizard idiot never encountered Broly, but yet he somehow fully knows about him. Alas, he used the power of this blood to make a clone of Broly using the power of Chinese knockoff Red Ribbon Army technology, but unfortunately, there is literally no motivation behind Buyer Broly. Broly is literally just a killing machine for the sake of being a killing machine. Not even because Goku's bitch ass is crying in a pot. Okay, quick question. Let us say, hypothetically, there was a job where all the dark souls of the universe were contained in a couple of gas containers. Who exactly would you assign to this very crucial, very sensitive position? Would it be an expert in the field? Or maybe it would perhaps be somebody who has experience handling the containers? Or perhaps the fucking unpaid red intern. I'll be honest, you gotta get a better workforce, King Yemma. There's just no excuse. You literally handle all the souls of the universe. I think you could find somebody to handle gas tanks. Also, Pikkon calls Janemba stupid right here. Shouldn't bro have been damaged by that? Or is he just too fat for that to affect him? Now let us go over Janemba's motivation. He is essentially a ruthless killing machine that's wreaking havoc on the entire spirit world because he's the culmination of all the evil spirits. Honestly, for someone like Janemba, that's basically all he needs to be. And I really like how they have two unique versions of Janemba as well. It kind of makes me wonder if Janemba could have kept transforming if another one of those gumballs dropped from the sky, but unfortunately we don't actually get the answer to this question. One thing I will say though is what in the world is happening here? Goku blasts a Kamehameha, Janemba copies Goku who shoots a pink blast, disappears along with a blast, and there is no noticeable beam struggle, but it still somehow hits Goku. Can somebody in the comments please explain this? I'm genuinely confused. One other thing I will say is that this is the best rendition of Gogeta, hands down, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And yes, I am Team Gogeta and will fight anybody that says otherwise. This red guy, let's call him Derek, is an insurance scammer. Essentially, there is an exponential lore dump relating to this elf guy, but the nutshell version is that he's in a music box. He was trapped in that music box for God knows how many years because he was containing a monster inside of his body that could destroy the world or something. However, Derek wants to release this monster on the world because why the hell not? However, we do not know how this guy found Earth or how he even got his hand on the music boxes. And the reason I say boxes is because he also found Tampon's brother and somehow managed to open the box without Shenron or anything like that. But given that these boxes were created by some wizard a few years ago, and they were meant for containing a really catastrophic monster, makes me wonder how this small elderly guy even managed to get his hands on it in the first place. Oh well. I guess we'll never know. Derek's motivation is basically just that though, and most of the time and attention in the movie goes to Tampon. But even despite that, Goku shows why Link's song is useless as shit and just uses Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist to prove why he is the daddy of all solutions. Now I know that people complain about this pretty often because Goku basically stole Tarbo's thunder, but I honestly think it was a much better way to end off the movie. I mean, come on, we got reintroduced to Dragon Fist. Would you much rather have this dingus just play a song to make the monster go boo boo bye bye instead of Goku using the fucking Dragon Fist to kill this thing? I mean, come on, who are you kidding? Also, why does Tampon take the time machine at the end of the movie? I already watched this shit like 3 times just to make sure I wasn't missing anything, and it still makes no sense to me. Honestly, I don't think Toei really thought this through and just wanted to get the ginger off their screens as soon as possible, in all honesty.